So hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club weekly catch-up over Zoom. It's Sunday the 4th of April 2021, and today we're going to be talking about anything to do with crypto really. We don't know where the conversations will go, we don't know who's coming along. We may have hardly anybody, or we may fill the room. We'll see what comes up. Anyway, I hope you find this of interest and enjoyable. If you do, as they say in the YouTubers, click on that subscribe button, click on the like, and I hope you have a good time. It's quite interesting. I had a chance anyway of I'm on a pump and dump group at the moment, just watching what they're doing.
A pump and dump group. Well,
yeah, it's quite entertaining but pump and dump groups they usually operate at about 3 levels, and you pay a different amount depending upon which level you're in. And so because I'm not paying anything, I'm in the pond feeders type category. And it was really interesting that they made the announcement on which coin they were going to pump a short while ago.
right.
I've just been tracking its performance.
Which coin was that?
OST, which interestingly is Simple Token, who I am an advisor to. So
really?
So I thought, oh, what's this one with interest? But it's so funny because you could actually see on the volumes that there was pumping going on prior to the announcement, and it obviously lifted quite significantly. Then they made the announcement, and all it's done since then is go down. So,
which exchanges is that listed on then?
Well, they explicitly said it was going to be on Binance. So I was watching its activity on Binance to see what goes on, and that's why, as I say, you could see the volumes going up. And you can see the price coming down. So that was not so good.
Yeah, I'm just finding it on CoinMarketCap now.
Oh yeah.
OST.
OST, yeah, which is Simple Token.
Doesn't look like it's done much today. Hold on, let me just change the scale. Oh yeah, okay. That's went up, back down. Yeah,
I think it was about 4:15 that they made the announcement to the public group, and it was about 15 minutes before that there was a load of volume which did cause the price to go up. So they only actually announced it to the public after the price had already gone up.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of volume gone through Binance.
Yeah.
Virtually nothing through the other exchanges that it's on.
Which kind of ties in then. They're just playing out on one exchange.
Yeah, so it's had sort of 2 million against the Ether pair on Binance today, and nearly 4 million against the Bitcoin pair on Binance today. Everything else is 4 other pairings, and it's sort of $30,000. So sort of 100-fold more on Binance than on the others.
Okay. What you're looking at to see that, is that on CoinMarketCap?
Just on the market view. Yeah. Shows you the volumes coming through. But often with these pump and dumps, aren't they often on exchanges that are quite obscure exchanges with very little liquidity?
Yeah, they certainly can be. And that's why I thought this one was interesting, because they were actually choosing it on Binance. But when they announced it, I think it was at 2212, and it's now down to 2. So it's lost about 20%. And in fact, it's gone down to slightly lower than where it was when it first pumped in the first place. So I guess there's some big moves earlier on where there's obviously the first group who were told about this have done quite nicely out of that. It looks like they've got a 20% or more uplift.
Right. So these pump and dump groups, is that sort of fairly typical to have sort of different levels of membership?
Yeah. So what you'll quite often have, it's almost like bronze, silver, and gold. And it almost works on that basis. So the gold group are the ones who are given the most up-to-date information, and are told in advance as to which coin it's going to be and what time it's going to be and which exchange.
Yeah.
Then they'll be given the heads up, right? So at 4 o'clock, start doing this, blah, blah, blah. Then the silver group will be told a little bit later about what it is and what price to enter and that kind of thing. And then the gold group will be told, the bronze group will be told a bit after that. And then there may even be a public group, which is the one I'm in, just out of the interest. And
right.
the public group is basically for the suckers who go, oh, yeah, it's going to pump and everything, without looking at what's already happened.
The greater fool theory.
Yeah. Well, it's like I went to a crypto event in London 2 years ago, I think it was, where it was a group of people who'd got together to form like an investment syndicate in the crypto space. And they were talking about a particular token. And I said, yeah, you know that this is a complete scam or whatever, this token you're looking at. And they said, yeah, we know. But as long as it goes up in price and we get in at a certain point and we get out before everyone else realizes, we've still made our money. So they were still quite happy. So it's kind of bizarre. It's the way the markets work, I suppose.
Well, it is. It's like the old days of penny shares, isn't it?
Yeah. It is very much like the boiler room style thing, isn't it? Of as long as you can make your margin on it. But this is the thing I keep telling people who are getting into the trading space, that in traditional stocks and shares, and it seems to be reflected in crypto as well, typically about 80% of people lose money.
Yeah.
But that same 80% think that they're going to be one of the 20% who makes money. So it always seems to work out that way. So anyway, so you've been watching what's been going on much this week?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's seemed for the coins that I'm invested in, it seems to have been a fairly sort of quiet week. A little bit up, but fairly sort of stagnant. Cardano ADA seems to have been really quiet the last 2 to 3 weeks, which has frustrated me.
Okay. But particularly after there's been loads of announcements, haven't there? And Charles Hoskinson's been quite active
I think there do seem to be a lot of things going on in the background, which perhaps will get reflected in the price over the coming weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the market as a whole is really looking quite healthy, and there are some big gains definitely if you're in a small coin and spot it early. But yeah, I mean, I was even quite surprised. For the first time in ages, I looked at my Coinbase account yesterday, and the only things that I ever use Coinbase for is sort of transferring money over to Binance in the past, sort of thing. And for the Coinbase Earn, you watch a few little videos and you earn a couple of dollars of some coin. And about a year ago, I ended up with about $20 in spread between a few different coins from watching these videos. And I checked the account yesterday and it was over $200. I couldn't believe it. So I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah.
So that I think it was in things like Matic and is it Oxology or something? There was a few sort of ones that I've heard of but never really taken much interest in, because Coinbase were doing the little videos.
Okay.
Just a few dollars worth of whatever the coin was. Yeah, it was quite a pleasant surprise yesterday. It's not going to exactly change my lifestyle, but it's a pleasant surprise and a good indicator of how things have actually been going over the last year. Really.
Yep. I think that's it, because I used to track my entire portfolio daily, and then as things went quiet, that got down to being weekly and then monthly and then whenever. Yeah. And then it's when you start looking again and you just add everything together and you go, oh, actually the market's improved rather a lot. It's like, so Ethereum's over $2,000 now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's been hovering around the $1,700, $1,800 mark for a while. And now it's gone up to over 20. sorry, not 20, 2000, which is quite nice. And Bitcoin keeps hovering around the 60,000 mark.
Yeah, can't quite break through that 60 and hold it, can it?
It did though, didn't it?
It did momentarily, I think, but
yeah,
it is so much like traditional stocks and whatever, the crypto market now, where there do seem to be these ceilings or these floors, and they sort of trade between, and then but gradually, hopefully, the trend is up, but then it hits another ceiling. Is it going to stay above it? No, it drops down, but it's a higher low, and then gradually a higher high, and so there's so much similarity now between the crypto market and traditional markets, if you like, which is a sign of things maturing, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, maybe that's it. The whole market's just settling down in some ways. Hey, we've got someone else that's joined us.
Someone else.
Hello. Someone else who's being quiet.
Someone anonymous, or someone else having the same difficulty as me.
I think Zoom sometimes must get loaded down at times or something.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Evening. I'm so sorry. I was compiling spreadsheets for all season and I got sidetracked. Apologies.
No problem. Well, it's pretty quiet here this evening anyway. Welcome, because I think did you only join today?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it can vary completely with these sessions. That we can have sometimes just a few of us, and sometimes it may be like 8 or so people, and we just end up talking about whatever, really.
Okay.
So what brings you along? What got you interested? Because you live down in Surrey, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in crypto and blockchain, and I'm a new investor to this sector. Therefore, I thought I would come along and see if I can learn anything or impart any knowledge to yourselves.
Okay, that's good.
Not that I have much at the moment.
Well, it's okay. I mean, the whole idea of when we set the group up originally, it was a mixture of people who were quite knowledgeable and quite a few who weren't. And the whole idea was to learn and share anyway. So that's good.
Right.
So are you buying cryptocurrencies, or you're into blockchain? What's your interest?
Buying.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you buying as investment?
Yes, I am.
Regular trading? So sort of long-term hold?
Both.
Okay. How long have you been doing that for then?
I'm 2 months into this.
Okay.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
At the moment.
We've all been there, don't worry.
Currently, it's a lot of, at the moment it's old season, so it's been a weekend of researching coins and which coins to go into when, and I've old season tends to be 3 months, so I've got monthly cycles, which I'm calling them cycles, and getting my strategy together. So I'm working with a friend on this, so we've both been working on this. The intention is to raise some money to do day trading with stocks, but also continue trading and long-term holds with the altcoins. So both the cryptocurrency as well as both cryptocurrency denominations, so the coins as well as NFTs.
Okay. Yeah. So at least you've heard of NFTs. That's a start. Although if you read any newspaper or look at any media these days, you can't fail to hear about NFTs.
No, I'm also on Clubhouse, so I've been going into the rooms to learn more and learn which tokens are the best to go into for the time being. So,
okay.
So yes.
So
So I've been very active.
What are the people on Clubhouse talking about then? Because I'm not on Clubhouse, but I got the impression a lot of the people on there don't necessarily know what they're talking about.
They're actually really knowledgeable.
Okay.
And they've done extremely well out of crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there's open discussion platforms where different people will give their different opinions and also their experience, as well as, you know, how their investments are doing, and, you know, why and what they feel is likely to do well, and going through the statistics, going through the charts as well.
Okay, oh, that sounds great.
So I've actually, to be honest, I've learned a lot from them. I do my due diligence, I do the fundamentals, because they always emphasize that the good ones, those who are good at what they do and who know what they're doing, they will always emphasize how it's important to do one's own due diligence. I did step into one group who I think first thing I did was text my friend with OMG to say, because they don't believe in the charts, they don't believe in checking those fundamentals. They will just go on fundamentals, and they don't believe that the charts are a true depiction.
Okay.
So everyone's different, I guess. You know, everyone has a very different opinion on this.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right, because I've got a fundamental belief that there is no such thing as fundamentals for crypto in terms of what you traditionally mean by a fundamental. If you're dealing in stocks and shares, fundamental analysis has a particular meaning, which is about the underlying assets and the business and that. Cryptocurrencies do not have any fundamentals, that there's nothing under them. But I do agree that technical analysis works, but it works because everyone else is using it. And therefore you're actually using technical analysis not to analyze the performance of the coin or the token. You're using it to analyze what the market's going to do. But if it works,
and also the movement of buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
See, with regards to fundamentals, I think with crypto, it may not have fundamentals in the same sense as stocks, but they still have, I've found that they still have as a business plan and a business case, depending on what the business plan and business case is, may determine the future of the coin or the NFT.
Okay.
What do you think?
So my experience to date is that that just doesn't work for cryptocurrencies. The reason being that you can have a great idea, a great project, a great team, but it's just the wrong time for what they're doing. So it doesn't work. That's like any other startup.
Okay.
Other times you can have a dreadful team, a dreadful idea, but they just happen to time it right. It's really good. And I saw this with the ICO craze in 2017, 2018, where there were white papers produced about some really good stuff. And so some of the people just didn't actually know what they were doing when they're going into the markets. It's interesting, just before you came on the call, John and I were chatting about Cardano. Now, Cardano, so with ADA, with the token, Cardano's got a great team, very knowledgeable leader with Charles Hoskinson, who's very active in this space. Clearly, they've got the vision, they've got the funding and everything. But when you look at what the token price has been doing,
I know it's not doing great considering how good the fundamentals are. So I do understand what you were saying there.
But it kind of depends what you mean by doing great, because although it's been fairly quiet over the last month or so, if you look back over the last year, it's gone up tenfold. Is that because people have suddenly woken up to Cardano, or is it because of a general popularity of the whole market, crypto market? It's probably a bit of both.
I think it's a blend of both. That's what concerns me when you hear about people who are doing really well in crypto, when it's not because they're knowledgeable or they're experts, it's simply because the market's going up anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was exactly what happened in 2017. In fact, it was virtually impossible not to make money with crypto in 2017. You had to be a real idiot, dare I say, to not make money back then. It's kind of a little bit like that at the moment. Unless you really are unlucky and choose a bad coin, you probably are going to do reasonably well.
Well, you only need to look at Bitcoin, its performance over the last year. I mean, it was hovering around, $8,000, $10,000 or whatever for a while. Then it went up to 15, then 20, then 30, 40, 50. As we were saying the other day, it hit 60 the other day. So there's probably a lot of people out there who've done very nicely indeed, because they bought into it about 20. So they've made 300%, but that's through no skill. That's no through judgment. That's just through just happening to time it right. I noticed we've got Vinod joining us as well. Good evening, Vinod.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks. Sorry I missed the last few weeks. The timing has been Sunday afternoon with young family. It just kind of slips my mind. By the time I realize it's like 7 o'clock. And that's why I'm joining late today, because it just slipped my mind. Just happened to notice the time and then thought I'll join at least for half of it.
Well, thanks, Jamal. No problem. It's one of those things that you can never come up with an ideal time for these kind of things.
I know. Sorry, I'm not criticizing it. It's just my kind of commitments.
No problem at all. So, have you been watching what's going on in the markets at all, Vinod?
Not quite. No, not as much. No, with various other life things has taken over with busy work and things like that. And the NFT is completely over my head. I tried. I'm part of that NFT Telegram group, and I gave up in trying to understand. And I'm now currently sticking with just Bitcoin and Ethereum and trading based on technicals. And as you know, I mean, you are in it because of the technology. I'm not on the technology side, so I'm in it to trade and make some money on the way.
Yeah, and there's room for all on that. The NFT space is fascinating. I was describing to someone the other day how in crypto we seem to go through waves of these crazy things, and in 2015 it was probably cryptocurrency itself. 2017 was ICOs through to 2018. Then you had tokenization, got a bit crazy for a while. Then DeFi last year, and now we've got NFTs. But they all go through this rapid cycle of just complete and absolute mayhem, madness, and it's just crazy you have to catch on to. But I'm finding it interesting at the moment, because I did the 5-minute video explainer on NFTs, and loads of people watched it. And what people are suddenly beginning to realize is what it is that you actually own with an NFT. And it's a lot less than people realize.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting you say that, Gary, because I was watching a video. It's by a US attorney who I've been watching recently, primarily because he does really good analysis of the whole XRP SEC court case. But he did one about NFTs, and he was explaining that you're not actually very often getting the ownership of the asset. You're in fact getting a share of the copyright, which might have quite a lot of restrictions built into it as to what you can do, when you can do it, how much you can keep for yourself, and how much has to be shared back to the original creator.
Yeah.
So it's not like buying something where you get 100% ownership necessarily. So
it does kind of vary a little bit, because I was having to describe this. So I'm now an advisor for a company who are doing quite some interesting NFT stuff in the next few weeks and months. That with an NFT in most cases is effectively just a digital ownership certificate, and actually it's that you own the certificate, not necessarily that you own the asset behind it, which is kind of crazy. And there's a whole load of illegal issues around that. And this is where it's going to be interesting to see what happens with likes of Beeple's $69 million artwork and this kind of stuff about, as you say, the whole copyright of who actually owns what with these things. And I'm doing some stuff with a cybersecurity firm as well, looking at, can we do NFTs in a different way so that you do actually own the underlying digital asset and the smart contract, and you have the private keys as well. Because it tends to be, if you're using one of the sites like Rarible or OpenSeas or whatever, it's not quite what you think it is when you buy these things. So anyway, we'll see. So
Sorry.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say the other thing is with NFTs where there is the artwork element to it, but there's also the option to buy land, and I don't understand how that works. How there is one NFT where you can almost pretty much buy land in your own back garden. I don't understand how that works, and the legal implications there can be quite severe, because if somebody else is buying land in the back garden I own, which in the UK I own it with land registry, then what happens to the other person's ownership asset?
You're absolutely right, and that's why things like land registry, it has to be through the land registry, because otherwise there's no point me staking a claim on your land and me saying I've got this NFT that proves ownership if that's not verified as the ultimate owner. So there have been projects for the last few years about using blockchain for land ownership and title deeds and that kind of thing, and they've tried it in a few countries, but it's not really taken off that much yet. And the idea of using an NFT to do it is fine, as long as it's sanctioned by whoever the agency is that currently does it. If it isn't, then you're right, you can have real problems with it.
So, I mean, it's great having the option to make money out of this, but sometimes it's digging deep into considering what it actually entails.
I think you had it right before where you're saying about doing due diligence.
Yes.
And you're exactly right about that. That sometimes people are buying these things, but they're not necessarily considering what does it actually mean. The other thing as well, I think, was John saying about how you can have partial shares and that kind of thing in them. You can't have a partial share in an NFT. That's the great thing. It's a one for one. That's why it's called non-fungible, because it can't be split up and it can't be.
But the copyright that you're obtaining, it's just like a share of the copyright in terms of under certain circumstances, you can do this for this.
Yeah.
In other circumstances, you can't. So it's kind of, that's what the share of copyright is. It's not 100% exclusive. You can do what you like with it. You can do what you like in these certain situations.
What gets interesting as well, though, for those that this might get a little bit technical, but non-fungible tokens are mainly on the Ethereum blockchain at the moment, and they're using what's called an ERC-721 smart contract. So it's a computer program, and that's what a non-fungible token is. It's just a computer program that says who owns what and where this digital asset is. But there's another token that has come out. In fact, there's two. There's the 998 and the 1155, which allows you to bundle these tokens together. So you could have a group of tokens representing, say, pieces of art or whatever, bundle them together, and then sell fractional ownership through this thing. And I've had a few conversations with people who are talking, they're getting really excited about this. What they don't realize is as soon as you do that, you are in effect selling what is considered a derivative, and therefore is covered by financial regulations. And that's where I've had to advise one firm who were about to do something like that. I said, you do realize you're going to have to be covered by MiFID, you're going to have to be registered with the FCA. Oh, and also in the UK, you're not allowed to promote, market or sell crypto derivatives to consumers. And they went, oh, that's not good, because the law changed on that in January. So just be mindful, if any of you see that, of anyone talking about fractional ownership of Nifties or fractional ownership of anything, it might be subject to rules and laws and that kind of thing. Sorry, John, I thought you were going to say something on that.
No, just really interesting to it is this whole thing, all these different things, whether it's ICOs a couple of years ago or NFTs or whatever, and tokenization and all that sort of stuff. It is very reminiscent of sort of 20 years ago, the early days of the internet, when all these different things, similar things, people coming up with different ideas to build off the back of the internet or blockchain. And some of them will stand the test of time, and some won't. Some of them will be just part of everyday life, and others will fall by the wayside. And to me, that's a good sign. It's a good sign that there's that level of interest from people who want to try and explore using blockchain in lots of different ways.
And I think you're right that we do seem to be going through these kind of like waves of things. It's almost as though I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking, I've seen this before, and what's going to happen next is, and usually it's something like they've not tested the smart contract enough and there's a bug in it, and so people lose in that way, or there's a coding error, or the blockchain has a failure or something. So this is the other thing people aren't thinking about yet. If you've got an NFT on, say, the Ethereum mainnet, so that the main blockchain, so that points to a digital asset on IPFS. So it's got a file string of where it goes to. What happens if Ethereum has a hard fork? Because you now have two smart contracts on two blockchains, both pointing at the same digital asset. And I don't think anyone's thought about that yet. So let's hope there's no hard forks in Ethereum, because that could have quite an interesting impact. But has anyone else bought any NFTs or got any NFTs?
I'm planning on getting some.
Okay. And is that in the digital art space you're looking at?
More the football space.
Okay.
So looking at possibly Chile's. Wax is an NFT, it is the digital art space, and they include, if you buy it, you can view certain scenes from certain films as well that have been taken, whereby there are extra scenes that may not be available when watching it on, say, for example, Prime or Netflix. But buying into that NFT, one has the rights to tap into that option. So it's an actual, there is a physical viability to it. It's not just something in the virtual space.
And that sounds much more interesting as well, because that's like being a...
It's more real as well, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit like being a member of a sports club or a fan club or something, isn't it? That you're getting something extra for your money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, with the Chiles, which is the football one, again, it's about almost like football card comparison, and also look, if the fans buy into it, it's even better, because then there is a potential that merchandise prices might increase because of popularity.
Okay. And I guess they're seeing that with in the States with NBA Hot Shots. I see there's something like $300 million worth of business, in fact, over $300 million business being done through NFTs of the various things that they're doing in the basketball space. Is it basketball, baseball, football? Can't remember now what NBA is. Basketball, isn't it?
Basketball. NBA is basketball.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. That and that popularity leads to the prices increasing, which is always good. Yeah. Has anyone seen anything else of interest in the news this week? Apart from Ethereum going through $2,000.
Well,
what did I miss?
Biden's announcement and his ethos around biotechnology and also the green space will have quite a significant impact upon the blockchain movement, because blockchain is generally eco-friendly, and also stocks in the green space might increase too.
Okay, and that's interesting as well. I've seen people beginning to ask questions about green Bitcoin, which I think they mean Bitcoin that's been mined from a sustainable energy source in some way, which unfortunately means that if they're buying into that, they don't understand how the Bitcoin network works. But yeah, that's an interesting one, because so a lot of blockchains are quite inefficient with their energy usage, and it could encourage a move. Again, Ethereum keeps talking about going to proof of stake, which is a much more efficient energy usage mechanism. But even as it is, I think I saw some numbers the other day that Ethereum uses 1/10 of the energy of the Bitcoin network, so significantly less already. Okay. Vinod, were you going to add something as well?
No, I was wondering whether that kind of green favoring policy, which however put a dampener to the whole crypto field because of the reasons that you were saying, because they are quite energy intense, things like that.
Yeah,
that's also possible too, I guess.
I think you're right that there is the potential, and it's interesting as well. Having been in the crypto space for long enough now, I've seen so many press biases against crypto. You know, at one point it was like, oh, it's only used for drug dealing, and then the next was, oh, there's all sorts of corruption. Then the next is it's all about rigged markets, and the latest one does seem to be, oh, the impact on the ecology and the energy consumption and that. But a lot of the time, that's not very well founded. The numbers I saw recently, I think Judge Business School in Cambridge do a really good report on energy consumption data around cryptocurrencies. And I think they estimated that Bitcoin mining accounts for something like 0.5% of the total world's consumption of energy, which is significant. But then I also point out that they reckon that twice as much energy is used by TVs and other devices that are on standby in the USA. So just leaving your TV on standby overnight, if you look at the energy that's consuming, and you look at how there's like 300 million TVs in the state of Iowa, that apparently that's consuming twice the energy that Bitcoin does. And at least with Bitcoin, a lot of the mining rigs are now being located in like Iceland for the geothermals, or Mongolia next to hydroelectric facilities and that. So a lot of the energy used for Bitcoin mining is quite green already, whereas a lot of the energy produced and consumed in the USA is fossil fuel still. So in some ways, Bitcoin's not quite as bad as people are making out. But I'm seeing it's the latest thing. Instead of the European Central Bank saying crypto's a scam, they're now just saying, oh, crypto's going to cause polar ice caps to melt and polar bears to lose their homes.
That's because in Europe there's no regulation for Bitcoin.
There's what, sorry?
There's no regulation for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In Europe. There's more regulation for Bitcoin in US because there's a lot more happening in the crypto space in the US. And, you know, they've got specific taxes for crypto and all of that. In Europe, currently, we don't have that. I do need to find out how to work around my taxes with crypto, though. That's something I am interested in. If anyone has
crypto in the UK is gains.
No, not necessarily. So this week,
unless you're trading it.
Yeah, HMRC published its latest guidance this week. It's produced its internal crypto manual, as they call it. If anyone hasn't got a copy of that, or they can't find it, I can share a link in the group.
Would you be able to message me a link through, please?
Yeah, no problem. And you should come and join our WhatsApp group as well, which is quite handy on that. But yeah,
are you able to join me onto it?
I'll send you a link. Yeah, no problem with that. But yeah, so HMRC released its latest guidance this week, which follows up from, it actually produced a guide in December 2019 on crypto assets and taxation. The difference between the UK and the US is that the UK, in terms of regulations, quite simple. You've got HMRC as the one tax authority, and the FCA is the one financial regulator. So there's only the two agencies to be really interested in the UK. Whereas in the USA, you've got the SEC, CFTC, something like 11 other agencies, or 11 other federal agencies who are all interested in crypto, and then each state has its own regulators as well. So actually, the USA is very complex for crypto because there are so many regulators trying to get into it and take ownership of it. So you look at what's going on in Miami at the moment, where they're evaluating using or accepting Bitcoin for local tax payments and collection. Arizona's doing that already. Then you look at New York, where you need a crypto license to operate and all sorts. And in fact, the UK, if you're dealing in crypto as a business, you now have to be on the UK FCA crypto register, which started last year, and they're now overrunning with that. And if you're dealing in crypto derivatives, then you're not allowed to market or sell them to UK consumers. So yeah, I'll share a couple of links with you, including the WhatsApp group and the HMRC latest guidance.
Great, that sounds good.
No problem.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, I think it's the tax thing's quite simple in the UK. It's how much did you make? Send it to us. Well, that's the way I always joke.
Simple is good, but even that is sometimes a bit complicated if you change from one crypto to the other.
Yeah.
Because that's considered as a
well then, and also with it's not just normal taxes we would pay capital gains tax, which is 40%, but that's only 40% above 13,200 gains, whatever those gains may be.
So the capital gains tax depends on how they assess you. So,
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so HMRC is still quite clever in that they say they assess each case on an individual basis. The reason they say that is so they can avoid making a precedent in any way. So capital gains only applies if crypto is your primary source of income. Sorry, no, it's the other way around.
Yes.
Income tax is only if it's your primary source of income.
Yep.
Capital gains is, as you say,
is anything extra.
Yeah, or your personal allowance. You're right. And Bernard's right as well. It's every time you transact. So if you buy Bitcoin and then use that to buy Ethereum, and then use that to buy Cardano, and then use that to buy IOTA, then it's a taxable event at each of those transaction points. So if you've made a gain or a loss on each of those, you have to record it. The ultimate thing that came out from HMRC's latest stuff, that basically they're now saying we accept that this isn't just about gambling and it's not about money laundering, which is great, but they emphasize again the importance of record keeping. And that's ultimately it, about you have to keep a record of every single transaction that you make, as onerous as that might be, which is why there are companies coming out now who have software that you plug into any exchanges that you're registered with, and they automatically track and produce tax reports for you, which is nice.
Is there any company doing that for you?
Yeah,
lots that do it for US. Right?
So there was one whose name escapes me. I was actually on a call with them or a webinar they were running the other day, where they're doing exactly that, and it's a UK-based company, and they're doing it for UK and US taxpayers. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group later. Yeah,
that'd be good. Thanks.
No problem. Just a quick one. I was conscious that things were going quite slowly and we'd sped up there. Does anyone have any particular questions they'd like to ask, or any comments before we close today? Because we've only got about 4 minutes left.
The NFT, I'm completely staying away from it because I couldn't understand. I could say that for the whole crypto in a way. I'm just trading it to kind of earn some money from that space. And because I was familiar with Ethereum and Bitcoin, I'm doing that. Is that possible in NFT tokens as well? I mean, I'm so naive on this. I've only recently found out what are all the tokens that you can buy on NFT or DeFi. I'm a year behind with that through my CoinMarketCap website. Yeah. So is it like going to Binance or any other exchange, just buying and trading, or anything else different for NFT?
With NFTs, at the moment, their main focus is around digital artwork. And so whereas you go onto Binance to buy your cryptocurrency or your crypto token, with digital artwork, it tends to be you're using a platform like Rarible or OpenSeas, where you're actually buying the ownership of a piece of digital art. So the different platforms are the main ones on that. I would suggest take a look at OpenSeas, just see what it is. But mainly, it's, if you're not into digital art or collecting baseball cards or whatever, then yes, there is massive potential to make lots of money. There's also massive potential to lose it all. And it comes down to if you don't know that much about it, you might be safer staying away from it for now. So, same with DeFi. DeFi is there's yield farming, there's collateralized loans, there's all sorts. And again, if you're not really comfortable with that, I actually think there's enough opportunity to do really nicely out of just actively trading Bitcoin and Ethereum. Nothing else, just focus on that. But Bitcoin, it's gone up, what, 300% in the last 6 months? That's not bad compared to a pension plan, is it? And you don't have to do too much apart from maybe put the odd stop loss on. Ethereum's clearly done nicely over the last week or so. That's up 20%, I would guess, from 1800. So in some ways, if you don't want to be permanently tracking and monitoring things, just sticking with it, some of the big coins is no bad thing.
Ethereum certainly seems to be outperforming Bitcoin, and some people are kind of predicting another altcoin dominance coming.
Yeah, and it may well be. I mean, Bitcoin still represents 2/3 of the entire crypto market, and it may be that Ethereum takes up more. Bitcoin Cash, that's doing quite well at the moment as well. So in terms of percentage gains, that might be a good one to go with. These aren't recommendations, by the way, but I'm just mentioning them in passing. Just keep an eye on the market, really. So we're at our 6 o'clock. So I was going to close off there and say thank you all for coming along. I'll share the HMRC link in the WhatsApp group. Gulshan, I'll share the WhatsApp group with you shortly. And have a good evening and go and wash your hands.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.